Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today I'll be reacting to Tottenham Hotspur's embarrassing 1-0 defeat at the hands of Sheffield United at Bramall Lane, as the Lily Whites, who were on the march for a big FA Cup run this season, fell short to the Blades of the Championship in the FA Cup round of 16 as a goal from Iliman Ndiaye in the 79th minute sealed the deal for Tottenham and saw a heavily rotated Sheffield United through to the next round of the FA Cup, where they will play Blackburn Rovers after the draw for the quarterfinals was decided shortly after full time. No events really in the first half, bar a hit off the crossbar from Lucas Moura. It was a cross-turned shot that hit the back post, the crossbar just above the back post. Really not that big of a chance, but other than that, a very, very poor first half from Spurs. We came out expecting more, and we really didn't see that, because in the 79th minute, Iliman Ndiaye broke the deadlock for Sheffield after dribbling between two players, leaving Sanchez and Højbjerg behind, and then shot past Dyer and Forster at the near post to score for the Blades and send them through to the next round of the FA Cup. Before I go on a rant about how poor we were today. I'm going to give my man of the match for Spurs to Lucas Moura, because he was the best of a bad bunch today. Believe me, he was still very, very bad, but if you take in the performances of everyone on the pitch, I think he was the one who was most effective, especially in the forward half. He was trying things, hit the post once, even though it was accidental. And in all seriousness, he was probably our best player today. But really, there was nothing to smile about as a Tottenham fan today. Really, the bad news started from the minute we saw the team sheet and saw a backline of Davies, Dyer, and Sanchez. Because if you're a Tottenham fan, you'll know that we have been knocked out of the FA Cup in the last, I believe, 7 years. And in the last 7 eliminations from the FA Cup, we have had Dyer in that starting 11. In 4 of them, Sanchez has been in them, and I believe in 2 of them, Ben Davies has played in them. So it's been those same 3 culprits really for about 7 to 8 years running now. And that's really the stem of our problems. Midfield was fine. Højbjerg, Sarr, it's what you expect. Skip, of course, was going to get a rest. He's been doing really well in the league. Højbjerg played again. I think Skip's Sarr would be better, because Højbjerg looked so tired today. Very exhausted, very fatigued. And so he therefore ended up making a good amount of mistakes. Pedro Porro started on the right side, which would have been the perfect start had Sanchez not started behind him, because with Sanchez starting behind him, he adds a little bit of defensive fragility, which means that Porro is able to get exposed more on the break. And we know that Porro is not great defensively. He was better today than he usually is, than he was against Leicester. Still not great, though. But he was pretty good at right wing back, and we saw a glimpse of what he can bring to the side. Perisic, I'm still very, very confused about, because I thought he was okay, but his game just went downhill and downhill. And every time he had the ball, it felt like something good just wouldn't come out of it, and the ball would be blocked, the cross would be blocked. And I feel like we've gotten to that point where I think Perisic just isn't really cut out to be a wingback in this game. I think if we played a winger striker, he'd do better. But as wingback, I just don't think he's the right player for the Premier League. Son was okay at times, made a late charge at the end of the game. He did a little bit better, but really for most of the game, he just wasn't clicking. Richarlison was ridiculously poor. Some of his shooting today was really bad, and his link-up play was quite bad. He was taken off in the 65th minute, and then of course Lucas Moura at right winger was decent, but it's like it's a yearly process for Spurs that around the February or March time period we will get knocked out of the FA Cup, no matter how easy the draw is. And today we had a Sheffield United team that was defensive. We had a Sheffield United team that had made 8 changes from their last league game, and we still managed to basically roll over for them and let them take us over. We let them score. Sanchez in particular was really bad at right center back. He slipped a total of 10 times today, could not get his footing down, and really was honestly at fault for the goal alongside Dyer and Pedro Porro. But we had no attacking spark today. Our midfield was pretty bad. And our defense just fell apart every time Sheffield tried to put any pressure on us. And I mean, we had 17 shots, and only 4 of them were on target. So we had so many shots from outside the box and so many shots from like weird angles because we just did not have an attacking spark to get into good places, which meant we were just shooting from God knows where and hoping that it would go in. And it ended up not going in. We lost the game. And it gets even worse when you realize that Sheffield United have drawn Blackburn Rovers at home in their next match, which means if we were in this place, we could have drawn Blackburn Rovers at home, which I think would have been a pretty good draw for us. But, of course, we had to go and bottle it in the round of 16 of the FA Cup. Just such a bad performance. I don't get why Kane didn't start. Actually, Kane, I get why he didn't start. I think the biggest reason there is because he's been sick. He played with a fever recently in the league, so I'm not surprised he didn't start. We are also looking for big things from Richarlison. The 2 players I don't get that's why they didn't start are Romero and Danjuma, because in a FA Cup game, we surely know the history with Sanchez, Dyer, Davies at the back. We need Romero to do something at the back, and Danjuma I think would have been so much better than Lucas Moura or Son, because he showed more quality when he came on. Yes, he gave away the ball a couple times, but he looked a lot better than either Son, Richarlison, or Lucas had looked in the rest of the 90 minutes that they had been on. So it just didn't make sense, the fact that Danjuma didn't start, and more the fact that Danjuma only came on in the 82nd minute. I think it would have been a better idea to bring him on around 65, because surely in the 60th minute you should be concerned if you haven't scored against a championship team with so many Premier League level players. But then you also have to look at the defense and realize, wow, we're really not, like, past the first team, we're not a Premier League side. If you take Romero out of the side, you take Kane out of the side, on current form, of course, Kane out of the side, Bentancur out of the side, Højbjerg usually out of the side, Emerson Royale out of the side, Kulusevski out of the side, you're really left with a bunch of low Premier League / high championship tier players. Son is, I mean, he has his days right now. He's not doing too great, but everyone else is just not good enough for us. And that's why, because every time we try to rotate for the cup, we just can't do anything because half of our players are not good enough. But that's it for my instant reactions to Tottenham's 1-0 loss to Sheffield United in the FA Cup. If you enjoyed and want to see more Spurs content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what your reactions to this game were. And until next time, come on you Spurs!